open news if the four corners of Ghana there na ebusia for channel way so ena wonsa ebeka ewo aha eye Ghanatube so ensem ekobe nyina no aha na ni nyina no ubenya edi efina se ne maji akonya matena sisei no na chese ensem ahodo ekobe nyina no eno ena mede ebo ebusia for ensem pa so menum enkwan no enja fufu ne bewa kotie ensem ekoso ewo man Ghana me ba na matwa so edi amount.
In the meantime, we have to transition into our next conversation. It's about Akwatia, all the internal wranglings of the NPP that seem to be also expatiate on the conversation, so to speak. But in the meantime, we have to transition into our next conversation. It's about Akwatia, all the internal wranglings of the NPP that seem to be also dovetailing into the narrative of the campaign message. You know that there have been tirades that have been traded among camps. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, on the other hand, seemed to be asserting that he is the victim because Brian the Champion's video seemed to have popped up, and since then a number of Facebook messages have been what we call in local parlance bars being traded between some elements in both camps as well as others as well. But Musa Dankwa is a known poster. He's executive director for Global Info Analytics, now famous for undertaking a number of polls, not only on politics, but also all subjects within the market. Good morning to you, Mr. Musa Dankwa.
Yes, good morning to you.
Yeah, and the subject matter of the narrative, the campaign, so to speak, for Akwatia, how crucial is this? I mean, are the stakes really high, as we tend to be seeing on Facebook particularly, or even X? Or even worse on Twitter, because those are videos where people share opinions and sometimes the language is unregulated, so to speak, very vulgar.
Right, well, thank you very much for having me. It's Akwatia critical. I think for the NDC, it is not. They don't need Akwatia to do anything in government. But for NPP, yes, they need to win Akwatia. They must win Akwatia. They can't afford to lose Akwatia in the midst of this restructuring and reorganization. So for them, Akwatia is a must. And Akwatia is a must also because they need to start putting some brake on NDC's popularity. And Akwatia could offer them the chance to do that.
How's it looking like? Both candidates, in the run-up to this, what type of message have they been selling? I saw the NPP candidate saying that Akwatia is a mining town, and so the conversation should be premised around what the needs of the people are, what policy advocacy for the sector would be. It's being misconstrued to mean that he's talking about mining, and then because there was a tirade, or he made a comment that it's not law we're talking about when it comes to Akwatia, so to speak. How is that influencing opinion in the run-up to this?
No, Roland, if you look at the polls we conducted recently in Akwatia, the top three issues were development projects, cost of living, and education. And then you have Galamsey distance fourth. Now, he has chosen to pivot on Galamsey mining because that's what he thinks his strengths might be. But even on Galamsey, it doesn't cut across the entire constituency. There are certain electoral areas where Galamsey for them is a do or die affair. If he was making those comments in those areas, then he is on point.
Okay.
But if he's making this comment across the constituency, then that could backfire because elsewhere, the top issues were development, cost of living, and quality education. And if he doesn't address that, if he doesn't address those issues, then I don't know how he's going to win.
But you can give him credit, won't you? Because the NDC candidate is not talking either. He's not available on TikTok. So at least he's been the one talking. And he's the one we're listening to.
Well, I've not been following the campaign quite strictly on the ground. My guys will be going there this Wednesday. I will probably have more feedback when they are done.
Okay.
But so far, I mean, TikTok, sometimes it's the algorithm that makes you see what you want to see. Maybe the algorithm is not allowing to see the NDC candidate. But I don't think he might be quiet. Even he is quiet, his party will not be quiet on social media.
No wonder I've seen Julius Deborah, the chief of staff, and everybody else seem to be flooding the constituency, giving some considerations to what their needs are, even making promises, etc. But the substantive issue will be, and that is going to be phrased in this question, that the positive accolades of the John Mahama Nana Jinopoku Agyeman government regarding how well they have managed the economy, and then also extending to governance generally since they came into power, how is that likely to influence somebody's choice in this by-election?
It would play a part, definitely to play a part. Now that they are in government, who have seen what they have done, if they are happy with it, they will reward the party with another seat. Now, if you look at the approval of the president in Akwatia constituency, about 46% approved and 40% disapproved. But you could see that the NPP's candidate at the time was doing about 3% better than Mahama's approval rate in the area, which means he was getting some benefit of his personal popularity in the area. Now, the problem for NPP and for the candidate is that they are not doing well across every part of Akwatia. There are areas that they should be doing well, and they are not doing that well. And that could be the problem they will face in the by-election. Now, if people's perception about NDC performance should permeate in the parliamentary candidates, then that could give the NDC candidate a boost in the polls.
That thing about areas and pockets of police stations, I don't understand. Explain to me.
No, Akwatia has about 21 electoral areas, but the key ones are Benchi, Godia West, Takrasi, Godia East, Apinaman, Kwame Kuma, Topreman, Kusi, Amount From, Saddams, and Okumani. Now, if you do well in these 10 areas, certainly you will win those areas. At the moment, in the poll, when we did head-to-head between MPP's candidate and the NDC's candidate, there are certain areas you could see vulnerability for the MPP's candidate. For example, in Apinaman, Apinaman is a strong MPP stronghold, but at the moment, their candidate is behind in the polls there. They cannot win Akwatia if they lose Apinaman electoral areas.
But so far, you seem to give MPP the edge. I mean, slight lead.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The edge they have is because of three things that we've observed in the polls. They are ahead because they are currently leading among Ghanatube groups, 51-46. They are leading among the Ewe group, 47-41. They are leading among the Bani group, 52-48. If this turns out to be true, then MPP will win the seat. But if these people don't do what they said they would do on election day, MPP will lose.
Well, it's just a poll, right? You're picking information, so you don't decide that, right?
No, I don't decide. What I'm saying that if they vote the way they told us they're going to vote, it's proportional.
Okay.
If MPP candidate wins Ghanatube group, if they win the Ewe group, if they win more the Bani group, and they're already ahead in that camp, there's no way NDC will win the seat. Yeah. But if it takes another way, then it could be a different story.
Yeah. My last question, I'll pose same to my panelists, but first we'll go to you before I let you off. Because what I've learned from your polls is that sometimes you have certain inferences that tend to influence indicators, the overall choices that people will make. And you know that the NPP seem to have gotten itself in this situation where they are deciding to have their presidential primaries in December. So you find that key leaders in the race are trading tirades, vulgar language among themselves from all camps. I call it, I'm using the local parlance in Accra, Gbos Gbas. All right. Now, those Gbos Gbas, the bombs they are throwing, how is that going to affect the factions or the supporters on ground, just in case?
You know, they should be very careful in how they attack or defend themselves in these internal primaries. There's life after primaries, and they shouldn't make that life very difficult for themselves. They have to be moderate in how they attack each other, because you need total unity to win the election against any NDC candidate. if these fractures are really showing up the way they are, and people are not forgiving after the primaries, then I can't see how NPP will govern themselves again for the next election.
All right, thank you. You always don't say much on these issues. I wish you well for the day. Executive Director for Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa. And
Ubetimi eja comment comment section na mejibre akinkan de amount fefe make I will say unya subscribe ye my channel we ebusia for subscribe na hitting notification bell no send be ansem no sem ni tuma na wenya no intem pa so mo amodofo snowy and am say ensem no ebrem sisi ade